Hello, my name is Michael Fronczak, and I'm here today with Bhante Sujatha, the Lovingkindness monk, and we are coming you today to film the 5th episode of Choose Lovingkindness, Bhante's new video series, and I'm very honored to be here with you, Bhante, today. Welcome.
Hello.
We're coming to you today from Como, Italy, actually, and just to tell you a little bit about myself, I met Bhante Sujatha 20 years ago, actually. He calls me his first American student. Honored to have that title. And we have been friends all these years. More than just a teacher, I say he's my friend and my teacher. I usually put the friend part first. And so together, he's helped me to grow in my own spiritual journey and guided me. And through the years, we've done lots of work together, charitable work, different projects all over the world. And finally, we co-founded the Sanatha Suwaya Meditation Center in Kandy, Sri Lanka. And so I'm now the manager there. And so Bhante is living in the United States, so we actually exchanged countries. I'm the American living in Sri Lanka. He's the Sri Lankan living in America. And so it's a little bit about us. And today we're going to be talking about relationships. That's going to be the theme of our video today, and that really comes from, I think it hits home. We were talking about what we would discuss today, and so for me, this is actually, I'm very excited to hear what Bhante has to say about this topic, because I'm going to be getting married soon, and Bhante's known me for all these years, so I think the advice is going to be very useful. So Bhante, what kind of advice would you give me as somebody getting into a relationship?
Okay, so thank you so much, Michael, again. So to doing this beautiful episode in Italy. So when we talk about the relationship, because I'm always working with people, I experience with people that's the most difficult and painful experience many people going through in their lives. And also I can see lots of beauty in it too, if you really understand that. So for me, relationships are relationships. It doesn't matter the way it look, the nature of the relationship. It can be two friends, or it can be romantic relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife. It doesn't matter how it is look like, but that means two people connected in deeper spiritual way and continuing their life as a friends. It doesn't matter, even husband and wife, we call it still they are friends. First thing I'm thinking about when we think about the relationships, we all have to understand we are living in imperfect world. Being in the imperfect world, we cannot have expectation, have something perfect. So number one, if you really want to have a good relationship, we all have to understand we all are living in imperfect world with imperfect people. So that situation, how we are going to live with another person with harmony, with peace, and with acceptance and love, and managing ourselves. So that's the first part we have to understand about the relationship.
So it's so important to have the understanding of the other person, seeing their perspective, what's their point of view, what's their background.
Yes, especially when we go to relationships. Recently I figure out something beautiful. If you really want to go for a good, beautiful relationship with somebody, so that means each of us, each person has to understand the heartbeat of other person. How that's not something verbally we can communicate, or it is very deep spiritual emotional feeling. First we have to feel for other person heartbeat. Just being selfish, self-centered, very difficult to continuing relationships. So other thing I realize, in relationships, most of the relationships are failing because people are self-centered, selfish. They always thinking about how I feel, not how other person feel. So then, because we are dealing with two people, that means we have to share or switch their minds. We have to put into our minds to different bodies. Then we can see how other person feel. If it is me, how I feel myself in that situation. So I think it's a very powerful experience. My relationship with people, I always thinking how I feel if I become that person. So that way I can accept more, then easily I can let go, easily I can surrender to the situation, then I can manage it. I think that's a beautiful thing. I am asking people who is going for any relationship, please try to understand the heartbeat of other person.
I think that's very interesting, and as friends in our version, in that version of a relationship, we've experienced so many challenges. I think in particular communication. You've asked me so many times, listen beyond my words. English is my second language, so feeling that the message beneath the words is, I think, very interesting. Something that brings to mind is a lot of times in our practice, in our spiritual practice, we tend to be so focused inward.
Right.
And we do look at ourselves, and we are a bit egocentric in that way, in that selfish way of our practice. Can you talk a little bit more about empathy and how we have...
Because I think, thank you so much asking me that, when we go to our practice, of course we have to go inward. That's totally, completely right thing to do. Because our practice is individual journey. Our practice is an individual journey. My spirituality is an individual journey, but my relationship is not individual. It is a two people. So once Buddha said, the greatest living is living by yourself. Greatest living I call living by yourself. Then Buddha said, divine living is live two people together. Okay, divine living. More than two, there is a quarrel, the fight, argument, more than two. So that means best living is live by yourself. That means you have to handle one difficulty. So your own difficulties, your internal demons and challenges. When we are living with two people, that means we have to listen, we have to accept, we have to let go, we have to surrender. Lots of commitments to do. I think it's the most challenging thing. That's why people are failing their relationships, and also people going for the relationships for wrong reasons. So that's my observation, wrong reasons. So sometimes I feel lonely. To fulfill my loneliness, I am looking for somebody into my life. But it doesn't mean it's fulfilling my needs. So that means selfishly I am going towards that. That's why after a few years later, people are kind of back up. Why? That wish never fulfilled. So always I think in the good relationship, language is limited. We can go with language certain distance in the language. When we go that level with the language, whatever things we are communicating, not the language. I think it is the feeling, it is the emotions, how we feel about the person.
We've seen that, right? Two people in a relationship, how they can communicate from across the room without any words, just kind of a few looks, and they know exactly.
Right, exactly. I have many experiences like that. Now think about two people are mad, for example. When two people are mad, they are become so loud. That means their hearts are apart. They cannot hear each other. Their hearts are apart. So then get more mad, more upset, more negative. Then they become louder and louder and louder. That means all their hearts are going the distance. then become more louder, more louder. That's what happened in science. So when people are mad, their relationship is apart and distance. When two people greatly understand about each other emotions, their nature, their behaviors, they become close. Their heart getting close, very close, getting closer and closer and closer. When the heart getting very close, then their voice become soft and gentle. Then they don't want to scream and yell at each other. So then they more and more they understand about the person, then the words become so softer and softer and softer and gentle. Then they are become deeper and deeper. Then they are whispering, not even talking. They are whispering. So then they are going very deeper spiritual level of relationship. It is even not whispering, looking at each other. They communicate with the eyes. So I think that's how relationship is going in the perfect direction. And also, Michael, it's a really good thing for you now. You are going for the marriage and that direction. So what are the qualities we have to have for the good relationship? I think number one is a communication. It's very important how we communicate. So when we do the communication, definitely I know other person get misunderstand the words, attitude, the way we present it, but maybe that person didn't mean that. So that means communication has to go with listening. Good listening or perfect listening. Communication and listening go together. If communication doesn't work, there's no better listening. Does it make sense?
It makes sense. I'm thinking to myself, how many miscommunications have happened through text messaging? I know that maybe is a whole nother topic, but even how many, and I've heard of so many arguments starting just from the text messages alone, that like so much is missing from that communication. And I think that that, as you perfectly said, with this idea that when we're closer, the communication is so much stronger, and that every sense of it is
you are totally right. When you are writing, sending a text message to a person to communicate something, when we read the message, there is no emotion, there is no feeling in it. Only what we are reading. So that means you can or I can define way I want it. So when I am sitting with the person, I can see mannerism, I can see how eyes working, I can see the facial expressions, and all those things I can see. So it represent everything. If I make my face like the different attitude, then the person totally understand what it meant, right? So I think usually I am telling some people who are working with me closely, if you have something very special thing, if you have to talk, don't send me a text message. Don't send me a text message. I misunderstand, then I make a wrong assumption, and then I get upset about it. And so I did couple of times with one of my friends. When he sent a text message, I totally misunderstand. Why he said that, why she said that. Then I send the next text message to that person. My friend, is it okay if I call you? If I meet in person, that's better. If I call, better than nothing.
Right.
So then I can hear the voices, the sound and the soft and gentleness or mean voice. I can hear that. Then I can understand more. So I think there's no perfect way, but we have to try our best.
So refining communication from our point of view is what we present as a message, and then also how we receive it. This is a big first step. What's another step in a successful relationship or advice in having a successful
so I
relationship?
said the listening and communication is very important, and also openness, being open. I can see the most of relationships are fail because people don't know how to be open. Even they want to open, they have social norms. If I say this, how other person react, how is effect into my relationship. Maybe that person leave me, then that person get angry with me. So even if you want to be open, I am thinking always we have to the wait for right time and right place and right moment to say that. So for me, when I communicate with people, I take if it is not urgent, I take lots of time to think and consider and think if I say this, how is affecting to other person. As I said in the beginning, that means I become that person if I hear somebody telling me the same story, how I react. So then I take time, then I communicate with that person. It is, so we have to understand that too.
Some people might be reluctant to get into relationships if they feel like they're maybe not self-aware, or if somebody has had a bad relationship in the past, they might feel like, oh, I need more self-awareness, or self-awareness seems to be, it sounds like it's something that grows in the relationship and outside of the relationship. Do you think that one should precede the other? We should spend more time with ourselves before we try to jump in? Or?
I think both has to work together. So the self-awareness. What are the other things you have to say?
Well, I guess understanding of the
other
other
person.
person.
Right.
That quality of empathy to me sounds like something that grows through your own practice. Right. So, but some people might think, especially when they're coming from previous relationships that didn't go well, I think there's also fear to move into a new relationship. And
as I said, I know our life is always going back and forth with our old memories. It can be good memories, it can be bad memories. I know some people, after one relationship is going wrong, then they are looking at all the relationships are negative. Right? So why our minds are conditioned in certain ways? Because we are hurt, we are worrying, we don't want to make the mistakes again. That's why people don't want to do that. But I think life itself has a risk. Whatever we do in life, there is a risk. Relationship are risk. We put ourselves into the risk, and also become a monk, also another risk. We don't know how life is moving in that direction. So because of our fear, if we don't do nothing, there is no any accomplishment in life. So that means we have to get the risk and move on. So whatever we do, there is no perfect way. And so what I am asking people, so in a relationship, communication, sit down and talk. If people say, I don't want to hear your talk, that's not nice. That's why I said, the wait for the right time, bring the awareness. Sometimes people are not ready to talk. Sometimes people are not ready to pay attention to it. Sometimes people want to forget about it. Sometimes people don't want to face to the reality. So, if we are going with another person, all those become a combo, like a whole full package. So you cannot be selfish and walk away out of you. And if you go with the man and woman relationship, I think, the way I understand when I talk into the people, women's emotions are totally different than men's emotions. Because I am not discriminating or think or good or bad. So the way process things are different than men process things. So that means, especially in that kind of relationship, first we have to understand as a woman, as a mother, in that condition, how she thinks about it. Then a woman has to think as a man how he thinks about it in his attitude. So that means in that level also we have to understand that in relationship. So that means, this whole relationship is a really big area to discuss, Mike. And so I think right now, first one, as I said, there's no perfect relationship. There's no perfect, because the world is imperfect. And as I said, we have to listen, we have to communicate. Then we have to take the risk and trust our heart and go for it. Then whatever consequences are happening, then take the lesson and go to next level with growth. So my experience, when you have that experience, people, especially in America, people say, oh, I am very sorry, I am apologizing, everything. I think myself, it is not enough. I can say sorry for everything. Excuse me, I am very sorry for that. I can say that. It doesn't mean anything. So before we say sorry, we have to think, after this mistake, what is the lesson I am taking into my life? What is the gift I am giving to my partner or girlfriend or boyfriend in this regard?
There has to be change, some kind of plan of action.
Right,
there has
exactly.
to be some kind of growth.
Exactly. So I think that's why in the Buddhist community we call the Sangha. Sangha means think as a group, become common. We think together, not thinking individually. We have to think as a group. So when we are in a relationship, we have to think together, not separately. So I think that's very important. And also the best relationship, I am suggesting people who is going for a relationship, once a week, sit down, have a really good time. Is there anything I did wrong this week? Is there anything I can learn? Is anything I have to focus as a husband, as a boyfriend or girlfriend? Please let me know. I want to focus on that. So being nice to each other and open your heart to other person to correct you. Both has to do that. So I know in my life, I had lots of annoying experience because of my nature. Now last maybe 10 years, I'm always asking people when I'm spending more time with them, is there anything you can give me as a lesson to learn in this relationship or friendship? If I did something wrong, please open to me and talk to me nicely, and I want to consider that. Sometimes people are not ready to say things to me, but I'm always asking people.
Opening that door, opening that communication.
Because why? What Buddha said, if somebody showing you something not right in your life, the Buddha said, he is the person open a treasure for you to make your life beautiful.
Give you that gift.
Right, giving a gift. So relationships are not easy, but we can do it.
It's a big topic. It's a big topic and full of a lot of powerful teachings. You have a relationship with a mosquito on your head right now. I think there you go. You got rid of him.
Yeah.
I think that the way you're addressing communication, I wanted to ask you today, I was going to say, what's the number one complaint you hear if you're working with relationships and counseling of any type, be they friendships or work relationships, whatever, multi-gender relationships, they're coming in so many forms.
Because the most of people miscommunication. As I said in the beginning, they are not ready to listen to some other person's heart beat.
So it seems like the set of problems that happen across relationships is pretty consistent, right? It seems to be the same set of problems. Everybody's kind of facing those same
exactly.
things.
They are so self-centered about the pride, the ego and all those things are really kicking in. So they don't want to surrender to the other person because it's not good for my pride. I'm a man. I have to behave a certain way. This is my women's right. I have to behave certain ways. More than looking at their difficulties and challenges, the pride kick in, ego kick in. So I am asking, be open, be humble, bring the communication, let other person to tell you directly what is your problem, and same time you open your heart to other person to listen.
I want to reflect on that more. What I wanted to ask you is, what kind of advice do you give to people for unhealthy relationships, and how do we spot if what are the signs? What type of advice would you give to someone who
because
feels
this is a really good area. If it is unhealthy or it is their chemistry is not working together, but still they build some emotional connection to each other, very difficult to apart. So then we have to think, this is how I want to live my rest of life because of this emotional connection with this person, and unhappily I want to live with this person, or walk away, make the distance and make your life better. One day that person become a good friend. That's what I'm telling people. Life is precious and short. There's no time to waste for your life or somebody's life. If it is working, go for it. If it is not working, don't waste your time or that person's time, and go and figure out something else. So that's what I'm always thinking about any relationship.
That's that courage, that's that risk you're
Right,
talking
exactly.
about, because we have a relationship with ourselves
Right,
also,
exactly.
right? We have
So
to be,
finally, we lose the relationship with that person, and also we lose relationship to the self. That means we lose both after that. So what I am suggesting, anyway, whether you are in relationship yes or not, one day you have to go your journey by yourself. That's the reality. That's the bitter truth. So if relationships are not working, go and greatest life be by yourself, and be a best relationship to yourself. So that's the last suggestion I can make for people. I am not asking anybody to don't go for the relationship. Please try. You know, in the even the Buddhist history, when I'm reading all the Buddhist stories, and very few perfect relationships I can see some stories. Most of the people who get into the relationship late of the years, they said, doesn't work, but I'm not angry. I have my own journey. I have to go my direction. That's what many people choose finally. But as I said in the beginning, there's a beauty in it too, fulfilling something empty space in your life, and same time lots of pain, lots of distraction, lots of anger coming towards your life. So that means that's your choice.
and so I think that's a good place for us to remember that, as Bhante is saying, it's a choice, and he's encouraging us to choose loving kindness. And so whether it's choosing loving kindness for yourself, or for your partner, or to fulfill for both of you, I think that's our message today. So let's thank you, Bhante, for taking this time.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much for your long time friendship. I think as a friend, I think we have really good relationship, and 20 years. I'm so happy we made this far. 20 years. It doesn't mean it was perfect, but however, because of our practice as a good noble friend, we stay together, friends, student and teacher, whatever form it was wonderful. And today I am especially grateful for you, and doing this 5th episode here in Italy, a city called the Como, right?
We're in Como.
Como, and we really had a good time. So I'm going to meet you my 6th episode somewhere in the world. Stay tuned. Thank
Looking
you.
forward to it.